Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Koki Otaku. Today with us we have a very special guest. She voices Jolyne, Kuujou, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Mitsuri Kanroji, the love Hashira in Demon Slayer, Yuri Jahad in Tower of God, Eris and Chris in KonoSuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, as well as Sprigatito in Pokémon or Horizons the series. And honestly, the list keeps on going. So without any further ado, please give it up for Kira Buckland.
Yay! I might also be the first VTuber you've introduced.
Yes.
Kira, thank you so much.
On camera VTuber, like on the actual podcast for sure. It's so cool.
And a cow, even more fun.
Definitely. Kira, thank you so much for granting us the opportunity. It's such an honor to be able to have the chance to speak with you with so many of your great characters that you have.
Yeah, it's super fun. I feel very fortunate that I've gotten to play such a wide variety of characters over my career. I know a lot of people think that actors are kind of pushed into certain boxes, but I feel like I've gotten to play characters all over the place.
Definitely. And we need to speak with of course. Heads up, guys, there will be some spoiler. I'm a person who loves spoilers. And we're not going to waste this chance to fan about our character that we all love. So we need to break the ice with one of the characters that I think everybody know. One of the major hits on Crunchyroll and all the streaming platforms. Talking about Mitsuri Kanroji from Demon Slayer, the pillar of love. I think at this point everybody know Demon Slayer. We all see somewhere in the cosplay world, in the convention. But how would you describe your character?
Well, one thing that I love about Mitsuri is she's very cute, very girly, romantic, but she's also very powerful. We see that she even kind of makes other people afraid of her in the Hashira training arc, and I just think it's really fun because she's such a well-rounded character, and she also has moments where she's a little awkward, which I can relate to as well. The moments where she is excitedly talking about her feelings in a given moment, and then everyone kind of stares at her, and she's like, oops, sorry. And I don't know, that feels really relatable. And she has an innocence about her, despite also being super strong and really being able to carry her own in battle.
I have to add, I love the fact that she loves eating. She's not afraid of that. I'm like, yeah, that's the best friend we all want to have with us. Like a friend like that. Let's go. It's so cool.
Sorry if you hear one of my cats screaming in the background.
Don't worry. I have a cat too that he's over there going to jump very soon. So don't get surprised until he show up.
Oh, I hope to see they're so cute. I have 5 cats.
Oh my god. Okay.
One is enough for me. I mean, sometimes I want to have another one, but not yet. I'm not ready for that. So, well, when you got the role of Mitsuri, did you knew about Mitsuri already?
I didn't know a whole lot. I'd seen people cosplay her because obviously people will read the manga and be far ahead of whatever's animated. So I definitely seen the outfits. Like I think I called her watermelon hair because that was just like what I'd seen from people dressed as a character. But I knew by the time that I auditioned for her that Demon Slayer was a pretty big deal and that I would be very fortunate to be a part of it. I didn't think that I was going to book the role. I really just thought that I would audition, I would do my best, but that probably they were going to go with somebody else who maybe naturally had a voice that was closer to Mitsuri's range. So I still give it my best, which I always recommend people do because you never know what the clients are going to pick. And when I got the news that I was cast as Mitsuri, it was at a time when I needed it most. I was feeling very down about where I was in my career. At that particular moment, I felt that I'd worked on a lot of shows, but that I hadn't worked on enough shows that really resonated with people emotionally, or that people loved to watch the English version for, or that people cared about. It's hard to explain. It's just kind of like a weird illogical actor thing that our actor brains go through sometimes, where you just feel like, man, I just want to be a part of something that means a lot to a lot of people. in terms of anime. And so then getting the news that I was cast in Demon Slayer, it just felt like that came right when I needed it most.
Definitely. But let me tell you, you have a lot of characters that hit us very deep. And moving forward to the next series we want to talk today. One of my favorite series, I have seen like 3 times. I might see it one more time, talking about KonoSuba. God's blessing on this wonderful world. Where you have 2 major characters. You have Chris and you have Eris. How did this happen? You had 2 great characters in the same series.
Let's see. You already said we could talk about spoilers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Okay, great. So, originally I was just cast as Chris, and when I was looking up information on the character online, I was like reading that it's like pretty prominent or likely theory that she and Eris are essentially the same person, but like different versions of the same person. And I saw they were both voiced by the same actress in Japanese. So I asked when I was at my session, I was like, hey, not for anything, but is this something we maybe wanted to see about or get just in case, or check with the clients and see like, should I be playing Eris as well? And then they got back to me and were like, actually, yeah, we want to have you record Eris because sometimes, for context, a lot of times dub studios and staff, they are only getting those scripts for the specific episodes that they're working with. So sometimes certain information that happens later on might not be like super readily available or this or that. Like there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, right? So, I think because in that situation it was the same voice actress in Japanese, if I'm not mistaken, that kind of had to do with that. So the nice thing was, unlike other shows where I play 2 or 3 very distinct characters, vocally they're not maybe super different, but their personalities are so different that kind of carries any tonal shifts needed. Like, because for example, Chris is like the spunky thief and she's always teasing Kazuma and stuff, whereas Eris is more like the proper goddess, like, oh, what are we going to do with you? You keep dying, sort of thing.
So, wait, confession time. So, I was looking right now, like right before we started recording, I'm like, okay, let me look at Chris. And of course, I already had Eris in the list. I'm like, okay, let me look at Chris. And then it says right there in the Wikipedia, Lady Eris is Chris when she decides, let's go have some fun in the actual human world. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, what? Because I'm just an anime watcher. I haven't read the manga, so I don't know. And I'm like, wait, spoiler, what the heck? They're the same person. And then when I'm looking at the actual character sheets, the drawings, I'm like, it's the same one. The only thing that changes is the clothes. So I'm like, oh,
yeah, you can see it, the face, the hair, everything.
Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have known unless I would have. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have known unless I would have searched it. Like, it didn't click.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was left kind of intentionally ambiguous for the viewer to kind of maybe notice or maybe not notice.
But it killed me, the interaction of Kazuma, the main character, with both of them, because every time Kazuma dies, Eris is the saver who saved it, who sent him back. I can't get over one time that he's like looking at Eris and he's like, I wish Aqua was just like her. And I'm like, geez. And then now we have Chris, who is the other way, which is like giving the power, the knowledge to Kazuma to how to steal stuff that he ended up stealing panties.
Yeah.
It was confession again. My mom loves anime too, and many times when I visit her, we watch together this series. Even I watch it, so we're watching the series, and I get to the moment, and I'm like, "Crap, he's about to steal panties," and I don't know what's going to be my mom's reaction right now. And when she sees the scene, she's like, "He's just steal panties," and I'm like, "Yep, mom, yep, this is anime."
Welcome to anime.
So before we move on, between Eris and Chris, how would you see yourself in which character you see more? In Chris, the playful, kind of not sassy. She likes to do tricks, or Eris is more graceful, more like the goddess.
Oh, I'm definitely more like Chris.
That's sweet. But moving on to the character that is it's more like Eris, not like Chris. She's not a goddess, but she has the power. Talking about one of my favorite series of all time. Talking about Beatrice in Re:Zero, the anime that I love. It hit me the first time I seen it, and I've seen like 2 times also. Re:Zero, the story about Isekai, the guy who reincarnated to this world, only that he has the blessing/curse that every time that he dies, he rewind in time a few specific time, and nobody know this curse blessing is forever or is limited. He doesn't know when the last time he get killed going to be the last time he got really killed. And Beatrice is one of the guardians. How would you describe this character? Because it's very complex.
Yeah, I think we actually got to see a lot more of her character development in season 2. Because in the first season, I feel like she's a little bit more bratty, more closed off. Maybe doesn't really let people in very much. And then in season 2, we see a lot more of her vulnerability, especially with Subaru. Another way that I kind of like to describe her is she's almost like an angry grandmother in a small body. I actually play a few characters that are like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And she's kind of like, I've been around forever and you're annoying me.
I mean, she was the perfect librarian because I rarely know. I work at a library at school, and from that group of staff, there were like 10 employees, and there was only like 3 that were nice. The rest they were all sour, like, what do you want? What are you doing here? No speaking in the library. What are those couple behind over there? Only get them out of the library. They're doing stuff that shouldn't be doing in the library.
That would absolutely be Beatrice.
Yes. It was fun.
Well, okay. I'm glad that's a stereotype, though.
No, I see her as a librarian. However, I was so in shock when we go into the arc of the book when she was waiting for the witch to come back, that we all always thought that she was like against the witch, and then we find out that she was like waiting for her, something like that. It got very complicated. That we saw the true purpose why she's stuck in the library, which I cry a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, that was a really emotional arc.
Definitely. And Re:Zero is that series that it will hit your feelings. Even that there's some action, even that have that time travel will repeat. There will be it had the magic of hitting your feelings because it will make it somehow to show you that angle that was not present in the first round, but you will see it eventually, and many times consequences. Sometimes I feel like John Wick say consequences, but consequence is a key word in this series, which is beautiful. Now let's leave the anime behind. Let's talk about Kira, Vtuber, and also cosplayer, right?
Yeah, I haven't cosplayed in a while, but I miss it.
Let's go with the Vtuber first. How do you start doing as a Vtuber?
Well, I actually had no idea how to do it, so thankfully a friend of mine, who's also one of my Twitch mods, was able to set it up for me. Because when I first started streaming on Twitch, I had like no equipment, nothing. Literally, there's a setting where you can stream directly from your PlayStation, and I did that. And my very first stream was just me trying to pull for my own character in Genshin Impact when she got revealed. And then over time, I was like, yeah, I'd love to have a whole stream overlay and have like a VTuber model and stuff like that. So got on a call with a couple of my friends who helped kind of design, put everything together. The service is called like Vroid, or like the type of model. And it helped because with that, there's certain pre-existing parts that you can buy. In terms of lore-wise, I am a time-traveling cow from space. And I'm also a stand user.
A what user?
A stand user, like from JoJo.
Okay.
So that's why her name is Josie, because I wanted her to be able to be a JoJo in her own lore.
Okay, we're definitely talking about JoJo in a second, but but why a cow specifically?
I love cows. Cows are cute.
Okay.
People don't give cows enough credit.
I agree. I very much so agree. Cows are cool. So I had been looking maybe like a year or two ago into VTubing too, and it's complicated. Like, it's amazingly complicated. When you say that you got in touch with a friend to like decide it and everything, and then you went to Vroid, who made like the final character? Like, not design wise, but like in the computer, like, hey, I wanted that. Of course, you're like, I want this, like that. But like, who finished this, like, making the actual character?
So that was my friend Ed, who I mentioned as one of my stream mods. He's also a VTuber as well. He goes by like Cyber VTuber, and he did that. But with the Vroids, because it's like a 3D and there's like pre-made assets that people can use and modify and stuff, it's not as expensive. Like the live 2D VTubers, like the ones that corporate VTubers use, those can be thousands of dollars. And
my God.
I just like couldn't really commit to that kind of payment up front, especially when I have a classic car that I have to pour all my extra money into. So, you know.
So, okay, so you did mention before we started recording that you had to jump onto another type of computer because that's where your VTubing, everything, equipment, software is. How much, how powerful does the computer have to be to like actually be able to VTube?
I'm actually not sure because it depends. I would imagine what else you're running on here. So this could, because I use a Mac normally in my recording software, in my daily computing life, whatever. So my computer in my recording booth is a Mac. But I had to buy a PC specifically for streaming because the Elgato capture card that I have for my PlayStation, like that only works on PC. So it's like, I bought like specifically a gaming laptop. I don't game on PC, I game on console, but I needed something that could run OBS for streaming my game and then also VTubing program.
I have a question, change the topic to the industry as a voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of major rooms. However, we're going to say you're in the West Coast to protect. We don't want to get location. We're in the West Coast located. And when we speak with a voice actor, they always mention that they all centralized in Texas because they're the recording. So your case, do you have like many major character, main character or just side major character? Can we say that your case is an exception to the norm where living in the West Coast, you have major character?
Oh, it's actually, so I can say because a lot of actors live here. I live in the LA area, and there's two major hubs in the US for character voice work. So there's LA and then there's Dallas, Texas. So Dallas is where Crunchyroll, formerly Funimation, is. And so obviously a lot of anime is done there. We get some anime in LA too. So Demon Slayer is recorded out here. So all the cast are LA based. JoJo's was recorded out here. But we also get a lot of video games. So a lot of the game projects are recorded here, but we're seeing like more hybrid cast now, and sometimes people who move from one location to another. So it's not uncommon to see Texas actors sometimes in LA projects or vice versa, or sometimes people move or they fly out for a job, but usually it's one of those two locations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Speaking of JoJo, because you said you wanted your character to be based on the JoJo universe. You got Jolyne Kuujou. And JoJo's such a meme-worthy series for sure.
Yes.
How would you describe Jolyne? Like, because you were talking to us, like, you're like so into Jolyne. Like, how do you describe this character and like get this world?
So Jolyne is Jotaro Kuujou's daughter, who is the Joestar of Part 3. So it is really cool seeing kind of her story because she and her father did not have the closest relationship when she was growing up. And we later learned that it's because her father was always off fighting enemy stand users. And he didn't really want to drag her into that kind of world. But then when she gets framed for murder and sent to prison. She kind of gets dragged into it whether she likes it or not, because the whole thing was like a setup, and basically like Dio and his allies want the entire Joestar bloodline dead. And so even after her father and Dio faced off in Egypt and got rid of Dio, then it's like, well, he still had his underlings and his associates that want to get rid of the Joestar bloodline. So she is like stuck in this prison, and her father comes to visit her, and she doesn't know any of this. So she's like, I don't want to see him. And he meets with her anyway, and he gives her this, like, it looks like kind of like jewelry or like an ornament, but it has a piece of the stand arrow inside. So then when she gets cut by the stand arrow, she gets her stand stone free. They had to censor the name in the English release because there's a lot of band and song references in JoJo, and it was like a copyright concern when localizing into other regions. So they call it Stone Ocean in our version.
Oh, wow.
And I had to make this question because JoJo is very well known for the poses, all these action. So
yeah.
How often do you with your close friends or compared, you have to replicate these very well known poses of JoJo?
Well, I go to a lot of conventions, and I often host JoJo's Bizarre Adventure panels. I've run, I don't know, countless ones at this time, and we always do a posing contest.
Oh,
definitely. That's cool. That's cool.
I'm not so good at doing the poses myself, but I like watching other people doing them and making prizes.
You're a judge.
Yeah. Exactly.
I can tell you, a few weeks ago, I was on a convention in Puerto Rico where I was the host, and during the cosplay show-off, there was a few guys and girls that they did some JoJo poses, and we're like, that's a JoJo over there. We know, we recognize it. It's so fun. But moving on to another character, you sometimes not saying too much, it gets complicated and important. And I think this is the case of 2B in the series NieR Automata, where you had the main character 2B.
Mm-hmm.
How was the experience of voicing this lovely, very well-known character in the video games and cosplay, and that is new in the anime world?
Yeah, so when I was first playing 2B in the game, it was definitely a different character type than I was used to playing. So it was a little challenging in its own way, especially because she didn't outwardly express her feelings a lot, and I was used to playing characters that were very big and very over the top in the anime and JRPG world. But one of the really nice things about 2B having come back in so many different projects, or being like a guest character or crossover character. Hi, Cowbell. Oh, so cute. Hi. One of the really nice things about that was that after going through recording the entire game and then playing the game, I felt like I knew a lot more about the world, the character, everything about the story and the integral parts of it. So, for example, getting to work on the anime, which was kind of like a retelling with some changes, I felt like I could give a much better performance because by then I really knew that character and that world, and I'd become a better actor, obviously since 2018 when the game came out, and like 2017 when we recorded it. So it's just really nice to get another chance to add more layers, add more depth to the character.
Definitely. And again, it is a very well-known character. Big challenge, because I keep saying, when character doesn't speak too much, they are able to deliver a feeling, a moment, a message. That's a challenge that I cannot imagine how challenging is that for the voice actor, which have all the responsibility of delivering that feeling with only a few words. And something but bringing back feelings, a series that finally is back after so many years. Well, I start watching today the dub version of the new season because I was waiting so good for this one, and I'm preparing for another panel I had to present tomorrow, talking about Tower of God, where you had the character of the princess Yuri Jahad.
Yeah, I was really surprised and excited that season 2, because I recorded the first season years ago. I think 2019, 2020. Can't remember. I think it must have at least been partly in 2020 because I remember having to record some of the later episodes from home. So that was
It's been that long?
Yeah.
God.
I know, time flies. And so it was like really exciting because I would always say if I ever met a Tower of God fan at a convention or something, they would always say like, is there going to be more? Because in the webtoon that it was based off of, there's a lot more. And Yuri was a very important character from everything that I've seen. So it's like, oh, I really hope so. But we didn't hear anything for so long. And I just kind of, I don't like to get my hopes up because then I'll get sad if we don't get a new season of something or if we don't get to record it. So I was just really happy when I got an email saying like, hey, they're doing more Tower of God.
When I saw the news, I was like, finally, about time. Because Tower of God, if my memory is not betraying me, it was a little bit delayed between the dub release, like we had the simulcast first, and it took a little bit with the simul dub, so I had to wait a little bit for it. But when it finally was here, we bench watched it. And confession, the reason why I mentioned this here because tomorrow we're heading to the convention. We host the panel, anime character that we love to hate, and of course we need to speak about Rachel. Which everybody loves Rachel. That every time we mention that character, everybody jump on the screen of the chair. So it brings a lot of feeling. However, talking about feeling characters that are kind of unique, talking about Mary Saotome in Kakegurui. This series.
I love Mary.
How?
She's just such a fun character to play.
Why?
Because she's crazy.
So when you have these types of characters that are a little off the rockers, where do you find the inspirations like, oh, let's just do this and then do that and make her sound quote unquote crazy?
Those are always the most fun type of characters for me, to be honest. I've just always resonated with them the most. I think you get to play a lot and have a lot of fun. I mean, it's also can be really fulfilling to play characters that are less emotional and you bring all that out underneath, like we talked about with 2B. But there's also something so fun where you don't have to work, like, especially in modern voice acting, I feel like there's this big trend that you see in auditions and stuff where they say like, we want everything to be very real and conversational and just like a real person talking. So when you get to do something that's more cartoony, more over the top, a little more unhinged in the case of Kakegurui, because even if you just look at the art and the animation and what they do with the faces, like especially in the first part of it, it's like, yeah, you have to match the performance to be big like that.
Definitely. To wrap it up, because after this episode in the backstage, we need to speak about Gato's cats. We have the character on Pokémon of Sprigatito.
Yeah!
How was the experience? Dubbing Sprigatito.
I wanted that part so bad, not gonna lie. I always say I'm never allowed to ask for anything else because I got Jolyne, right? But it was just like, I wanted so bad because, of course, I'm a cat mom. I have 5. I would probably have more if I didn't live in a small place. I used to work at a kitten nursery. I've grown up with cats my entire life. I feed like feral cats and stray cats and, just always surrounded by cats. So I have always wanted to play more cats. And of course, when I played Scarlet and Violet, everyone was like, oh, wow, I wonder what you're choosing for your starter. Because if there's a cat, I will always choose the cat.
Of course.
So, okay, wait. When you have characters like Sprigatito, all Pokemon say is pretty much their name. How do you do it so that the same word just has different inflections and it comes across as that way?
Yeah, so in my case, I actually just meow. I don't say anything like besides just meowing. So one of the challenges that I had early on, and I got into this groove thankfully, but one of the challenges was that sometimes I would make a noise and it would sound too human. So we had to make sure we kept it very like creaturey, because even just certain things that you do with your breath or with your inflections, then it can start sounding like a human character, which we don't want in this case. So that was challenging, trying to figure out the right parameters for that. In terms of the different inflections and stuff like that, our director, who's been working on the series for many, many years, both directing, acting in it, all that good stuff, she is very, very knowledgeable about everything going on in that universe. And so just as if you were playing a character who did speak full sentences, she'll give you a rundown of the scene and like what's going on in this, and specifically like, okay, what are you feeling here? And the challenge, because it's actually very challenging, is kind of like you have to say with just a meow all this sentiment. You have to convey all that. So for example, just making something up off the top of my head, the meow could be like, Liko, I really want to adventure more with you, but I hope that you don't forget about me because you have other Pokemon that are growing stronger too, or something. You have to say all that, just like looking up at her phone.
For those that are old school, that they didn't catch up with the latest Pokemon, just go back in time to that scene where we have Meow, a story when he met his friend,
God.
and he was having that conversation with Meow, and he like meow 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 meow. And we're all here crying like, I feel the cat, I see him. So technically, I think that's a good reference for the old school, for the
for sure.
catch up.
I think it's kind of like, because I sometimes guest host workshops for actors, and we do this a lot with like battle cries and like nonverbal things, and just kind of like that the fundamentals of acting still apply, because whether you're using words or a sound or a breath or whatever, you're conveying this thought, this feeling.
I have to confess, a few weeks ago, I was invited to voice acting dub festival in Puerto Rico. And over there was a voice actor from Mexico, Mitra Barrera. And the workshop, they were super interesting. I was not expecting to see how to emulate feeling, how to get the image. And one moment she said, hey guys, sometimes you need to being like kids. The best way to know how to act as kids, because kids are nature on feeling. They don't have outer inflicted feeling. They're very sincere, and a kid is honest always. So just get surrounded by kids, and you will learn how to deliver feelings, because kids know how to deliver a feeling naturally without being thinking how going to look, somebody's going to think about me. They're just very natural. So it was super interesting. Those voice actor workshops are very impressive.
Yeah.
So Kira, thank you so much for joining. It's been a great time. For those who are considering the voice acting career, any words of advice for anybody who's thinking about the voice acting career or just started in it?
Yeah, so there's a few things that I like to tell everyone, because I think it's very important. I mean, we all have different paths, different journeys, so there's not one specific way, like, do these things and you'll be successful, because, I mean, just like if you want to do screen acting or anything in the entertainment business, it's challenging. But the best ways that I tell people to kind of develop your skill and improve your odds of maybe booking or giving great audition later if you get some opportunities is the most important thing is learning acting fundamentals, because just like we were talking about how you have to say something with everything, you have to be honest in terms of like, this is your character's truth, and you have to authentically portray that, because if somebody is not a trained actor, a lot of times it will sound like somebody is either reading a script or they're trying to perform the words, but they're not emotionally connecting. So the biggest thing is just kind of getting that acting training. It does not have to be a voice acting class necessarily. Even things like school theater, like college classes or community theater, like anything that you can take that just teaches you, here's how to break down a scene and a character and kind of how to analyze like the intent and portray that is so important. The other thing that I suggest is to get involved with small creators online. So I know, understandably, a lot of people want to start off with getting paid for their work and moving to LA or Dallas and being in anime and video games. But, the reality is that most of us have to start small. I certainly did. I did free, fun hobby projects on the internet for years and years. So just getting involved with maybe like somebody who needs voices for a student project or a game jam, or they're making a YouTube video and they just need someone to do the voices so they can bring their original story to life or whatever. Obviously, you don't want to get taken advantage of. So I always tell people, if it's a commercial project, something for profit, then you deserve to be paid, and you deserve to be paid fairly. But, there's so many projects out there that's just like, people want to make stuff for fun and they just want people to collaborate with. So that's a great way to start.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. For those who haven't followed you yet, with social media they can follow you?
Yeah, I don't use a ton of it these days. But definitely, if you like gaming and VTuber stuff, you can follow my Twitch, Miss Ziggy Stardust. I can actually just put some links in chat in case you wanted to add them to the video or anything like that.
And we will. If you have a hard time finding this Twitch page, you just go down to the description of this video, expand the description window, and right there you will find Kira's links. With just one click, you land over there on the web page. It cannot be easy for you guys. Click, expand, click, make it there. And because you really make it over there, we humbly ask you for you to subscribe, like, and share all our social media. YouTube, it's very important that subscribe and share. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, any social media. Go to Google, you will find us, and who knows, we will come back to my final. So Kira, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. This was super fun.
Absolutely appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Sayonara.
Bye.